All right, this is question and answers. I want to get to a few of these. I don't want to keep doing these probably once every week, once every 2 weeks. I'm kind of getting a lot of people out there asking these, and I haven't got to them in a while, so I'm gonna go back and start answering a lot of these questions. And I want to do it on video instead of answering you guys. Put them out there. This is from Bruce. Do you lift heavy in the off season? And he's asking me, he wants to go over in the off season, he wants to go over 60%, because a lot of my workout routines, and you'll see them here pretty quick because I'm going to put them out. A lot of my workout routines, I focus on off season. I'll go up to 60%. On during the season, I'll bring it down to 40%, and I'll work on explosive movements, moving the weight from point A to point B as fast as I can. But he asked me, do I go heavy in the off season? Yes, I do. I focus more, and I swing in the off season only. What I do is I'll have a bat that's got like a sleeve on it, on the end of a weight sleeve, and not after I lift. It's like the next day I'll kind of swing that to get loose up. The main thing when you're lifting heavy is to stay loose, and that's been in a lot of my videos that I put out there on lifting weights. I try to stay loose when I'm lifting. But yes, I do. I don't go no more than 60%. I'll kind of bring it up a little bit. Like after Vegas, what I started doing is 50%. During the year, I'll do 40%. So I bring it up gradually. I don't do that big jump up to 60%. I'll do your 50%, and then in my peak, which is usually around the end of December, beginning of February, and guys, I got this down like a science when it comes to me, because I know my body, and I do this every year. I do not get away from doing this every year because it keeps me strong throughout the year. Lifting, and guys, to play upper class ball, I'm telling you, you gotta lift. You gotta lift weights, you know. Get out there and work. You got to hit balls. And another, there's another question I want to answer right here too, is how many days a week do you hit balls when you're getting prepared for tournaments, or even regular? Well, I at least try to hit once a week. When I'm getting prepared for a tournament, a big tournament, I will actually hit twice a week. And I look at hitting balls, and it's a workout for me. That's how come I say I'm working, because you're working on your game. Whenever you guys step into the gym, and a lot of you guys that have lifted, you'll know this when I'm talking about this. Let's say you go to the gym once a week and you are preparing for a contest or whatever, a weightlifting contest or powerlifting contest. It does not benefit you, because it doesn't make you any better, in my opinion. You go to the gym once a week. Well, the same thing applies to hitting balls. If you hit balls once a week, you're going to maintain, is what you're going to do. You're not going to get any better. You're going to maintain on what you've had before you went and hit balls. To get any better, you've got to go at least 2 to 3 times a week. 3 would be great if you can do it. But if you can't do it, you're still going to get the benefits from hitting more than once if you go twice. So I preach to a lot of people, when you're getting prepared for a tournament, like Vegas and a lot of the big tournaments, I'll try to hit 3 times a week, but I am actually retired, so I can do that. A lot of you guys aren't, and you have jobs, so you really can't get out there. But at least to go into DBAT, I mean, I don't like taking pictures from a machine. When we go into DBAT, we'll actually get a cage and have live pitching, especially before a tournament. But I've walked into DBAT too, guys, whenever nobody was available to hit or it was cold and we're getting ready for the year. I've walked into DBAT and took BP twice, 3 times a week just to get ready for that tournament. And then before I played, I actually took some live pitching to get my timing down a little bit. But in a great weekend, like everybody wants to hit, the weather's nice, you take live pitching at least twice a week. It's like working out. If you don't do it more than twice a week, you're not going to get any better at it. But to answer Bruce's question, do I go over 60 pounds in weight when I'm lifting weights? I mean 60 pounds. Do I go over 60%? Because that's getting away from what I've always trained myself to do. Do I go over 60%? No, I don't. And here's the reason why. And when you guys start watching my videos, you're going to understand at the end, you're going to understand why I don't do it. Anytime in my workout routines that you go up in percentages, the bar starts to move slower. Now, when the bar starts to move slower, you lose explosiveness. You're actually training your body to move something slow when you move the bar slow. So the reason I work on 40 to 50, 60% percentages is I want to work on an explosive movement, firing off, like contracting as fast as you can. When you go over 60%, I've learned that firing off actually doesn't fire off like it would at 40% or 50%. So I've got in my workout routines, I've got that 60% and that's it. I found out that if I go 65%, I actually lose a little bit. I gained some strength, but my firing off mechanism suffers. I'm not as explosive as I was at 60, 50%, and I'm great at 40%. So it's all about, and when you guys at the end of this season, at the end of this, when you guys start playing next year, you're gonna have a better understanding of what I'm talking about. When I do for the 40% to get ready for next year, you're trying to move the weight, any kind of weight. Doesn't matter if it's bench, squats, deadlifts, if it's any kind of tricep push downs, you're trying to move that weight from point A under controlled. You're trying to move that weight from point A to point B as fast as you can and contract. That's hitting the fast twitching muscle fibers is what you want for softball. And another thing too is my workout routines, like my assisted routines, all my bench, my closed grip bench, I do not do any wide grip bench. I focus not a lot on pecs. I focus a lot on tries, lats, which when you're doing closed grip bench, you're going to pull your lats into play. So you're going to do a little bit of lats when you're doing bench. All of my workout routines, none of them are not contributing to softball. All of them that I do actually helps your softball, and those are the muscles that you use when you swing a bat. But I don't do any that doesn't contribute to that. I don't sit there in the gym because I want big biceps. I don't sit there and do biceps, curls at the gym. I don't do that. I've never touched a bicep workout routine 30 years, about 30 years right now, because all my workout routines has been strictly for softball to get that explosiveness. I actually think if you work your biceps, you're actually contracting that muscle and shortening it. So you're not going to get that extension. You're actually going to get that extension. So it actually tightens up everything where you're not going to, if your biceps are tight, you're not going to get that extension on your arms. That's just my theory. And I've thought about that for 30 years, and it's actually worked for me because I'm not a very tall guy. So I need all the help I can get, especially in the gym. I hope that answered your question. So don't go over, don't go over 60%. Stay within the workout routine. Don't think, and this is funny too. Because if you ever watch, and you'll see in my workout routines, you watch the way I lift. Everything's with strict form, everything explosive movement, and everything is with light weight. So whenever you see me work out, and I've had this talk to me before, because I'm not doing my max, but if you see me work out, it's everything that's explosive and lightweight. So people look at me and go, "Hey guys, look at the weight he's pushing." But then again, I'm not doing my max, and I never try to show off in the gym to show, because I'll be 60 this year. I'm not going to go in there and try to push 315 pounds. See how many reps. A lot of guys on YouTube try to do that too much, and you sit there, I'm going to show them how much I can lift, and I see these guys up there just pumping weight out. And I'm like, that's a good way to get hurt. In my mind, I'm thinking that's a good way to get hurt by showing off. But you'll never see me doing that shit in a gym, throwing up 315 pounds, and I can get 5 reps. And even in my younger days, I didn't do that, because it's always funny when I see guys in the gym or guys commenting on that. You watch me work in the gym. Watch the workouts that I do, and you're going to laugh, because it's not heavy weight, it's percentages. And I got away from that ego shit long time ago about lifting heavy weight. I actually lift smarter. And what's actually I think a lot of you older guys can do. A lot of you 60, 65, 70, 75, 80-year-old guys can do my workout routine because it's worked with percentages. You're moving lighter weight and you're moving it as fast as you can from point A to point B. Builds explosiveness. This was from Don. Can you tell me how you know if a bat has a soft barrel or not? By hitting it. I mean, here's the deal when you've done this for such a long time, like me, Billy, Bubba, a couple other guys that actually hit with me have done, is you actually get a feel of the bat. You can not sense it because that's just a sense, but you can feel it in your hands. You can feel the because we've hit so much, you can feel the walls contract. Now, the only way I know this because I have swung hard barrel bats in the past, and even growing up, I mean, I've swung aluminum bats in the past. I've swung thick wall aluminum bats. Were they bomb bats? Remember those? Had that thick wall. I remember swinging those. I remember a lot of things. One thing about me, I have a great memory, and that ties into a lot of decisions that I make about bats. Is I can remember the original Dudleys, how they felt when we hit them. I remember how they felt when they were going to implode, and they got that soft where you got nothing, you got no reflex out of the barrel. And Billy too. Billy swung a lot more bats than I have back in the day, and he did a lot of testing. He did a lot of engineering on bats, and I'll get to that video later on. But the reason we can tell is because we've done it for such a long period of time. And if anybody has a job out there, you know what I'm talking about. When you've done it, it's almost like you can do it with your eyes closed, and you can feel things. You can feel it collapse when it comes to the bats. You can feel them collapse in your hands when you're swinging it. You can feel the handle flex in it, because a lot of guys, this is so funny. A lot of the pros out there put a video and was talking about a flex and a handle that, you know, guys out there talking about a flex and a handle. The handle doesn't flex. Well, I call bullshit on that. A handle does flex. Not necessarily like when a lot of you guys see the video and you see the handle flex, I think a lot of that has to do with the video, because you're not going to get a handle to flex that much. But in some of my videos, I can slow them down, and you can see right up above my hands, right up above Bubba or Billy's hands, you can see a little bit of flex in there. So some of it does have to do with the way the photo was taken or the way the video was taken. Now you'll get a big bend in that barrel. That's not a flex. I'm not talking about that, because the whole bat will flex. But whenever we start our swing and start to push, right up above 2-3 inches above our hands, you can see a little bit of a flex in there. I can feel that. Billy can feel that. Bubba can feel that, because we've done this for 10 years now. Not only have we done this, we've been playing for, I counted it up the other day, 38 years. I've been playing softball and testing bats with Billy back in my 20s, when Billy would get bats and he would experiment on bats. So Billy taught me a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about right now, about handle flex, about weighting distribution, which comes up to my next question from Jeff. How do you measure the weight of the bat you swing, end load, middle weight, and handle weight? And then he goes on and tells me, I'm trying to find the same weight between the handle, middle, and end weight as the Reebok 28 ounce. Billy talked to me about this in my 20s and explained his theory on this and his thoughts on this. Is that the way a bat is, the weight in a bat, the way it's distributed through the whole bat. A lot of guys don't understand this, but that's the reason that I put in weight. I put handle weight, knob weight is what I call it, not necessarily handle, knob weight, and I do in weight. Now there's no way I can weigh the middle of that. The only thing I can do is I can calculate the knob weight to the end weight, and I can kind of guess on it's a mid load, you know, or a balanced bat or an end load. Now the best way I can do it is swing it. Like I can get my calculations on that, and then I can go out and I can swing it. And I can feel where that weight is at. Is it more like a sledge? And guys, I've gotten so good at this. Billy's gotten so good at this that we can tell you the mass on the end. Like if Mikens back in the day used to load their 26 ounce with that much mass. Well, when the Reeboks, like he's talking about, came out, they had that much mass on a 26 ounce. That's a big difference, guys, which you guys don't understand. That's how come I'm saying on my website it's a formula. Guys don't get this. They don't get that from there to there, it's going to do something to the performance. It's going to make it better, the dense mass. And I'm going to explain to that in the video later on when I talk about this. And I'm going to show you proof that Billy, the Blake theory, back in the 80s, when he built bats for these companies that he played, these big softball companies that he played for, on his thoughts on that. So that's the reason that whenever I look at bats, and I think this review thing is actually beneficial to a lot of you guys out there, because it's not nowadays, 2020, coming into 2020, it's just not going out and getting a balanced, it's not going out and getting a mid-load, it's just not going out and getting an end-load bat, because you got to know where that weight is distributed. To answer Jeff's question, let me tell you what I do. On my scale is going to be different than your scale, but I weigh every bat that I have on my scale. I don't weigh it on different scales. I weigh it on my scale. So I'm going to get an accuracy. I'm going to get it accurate on what my weights that I like, right? I tend to believe that if I get a 9-handle a knob weight of 9 and get a 17 end load, that's my best formula. I think with you out there, I think that formula is pretty close to being the same, either higher or lower, depending on what weight of bat you swing. So you're going to get that whip at the end, which I like. A lot of you balanced guys don't necessarily want that whip, so you'll go to a balance or a mid-load bat. But to answer his question is, it's going to take a while. For one, I would have to get a Reebok, a 28-ounce Reebok, and weigh it. I'd have to weigh the end weight, and I'd have to weigh the knob weight, and then I would go try to pick a bat that is closest to that as I could, that is not a 12-inch barrel, but a 13-inch barrel. Because if you can, here's the deal about the formula shit I'm talking about, is you can get the same on the Reebok. You know, I'm just going to throw a Bailey bat out there, which is a 12-inch. You can get a knob weight, and both of them could be 17 knob weight. You get a knob weight, and both of them could be 8. And then you got an end load that both of them could be 17. But if it's a 13-inch barrel compared to a 12-inch barrel, they're going to swing different. You know what? That's how come all of these are not. And it's hard as shit. I mean, you guys think it's so effing easy. I mean, it's not. It's actually hard as shit, because the 12-inch is going to throw it off in swinging weight, because the 12-inch is going to swing more like a sledge because it has more mass on the end. So you just can't go out and pick up a John Bailey bat because it's got the same numbers. You got to pick a 13-inch that has the same numbers. You got to measure the barrel, you know, to find out exactly what that barrel size is. And then measure another bat that has exactly that barrel size. It can't be a 14-inch. It can't be a 12-inch. It's got to be that barrel size of that Reebok 28-ounce that you're looking at. And then go by the end weights, because you can have the same knob weight and the same that you're looking for, the same end weight. But if your barrel sizes are different, throws everything off. That's what a lot of guys don't understand when out there picking and choosing these bats. Now, I like swinging a 12-inch. So what I do is I like swinging the 2.0, the Dudley, the 12-inch. So I already know what my numbers are on that bat. I've actually archived it. It's there, right? That's the best tournaments I've had under that knob weight and that end load on that 12-inch. So what I'll do is I'll go around looking for a 12-inch bat that has those same numbers. I will not go look for a 13 or 14-inch bat, because that throws everything off again. Hope that answered your question, guys. I didn't want to get too deep into that. I have a lot more videos coming out explaining Bill Blake theory. The Blake theory is what I call it, from back in the 80s. And actually talk about what he did and actually show you proof and what I've heard, and I was there. This is not secondhand shit. Another thing too, when I talk about Billy, this is not secondhand shit. I was there, in the 80s. I was 21, 22, 23. At the same year, I was pitching to him, I was Billy's pitcher back in the day when he was with Howards and Steers, Cable, Smythe Sox, Steels, and all those big teams he was playing. I was the guy that was watching him. I was the guy that was there when, you know, they were delivering the bats to his house, and I was there when they were delivering him shells, and he would ask for shells from Easton, and then he would weight them different and go out and test them and then give his reply back to Easton, or, you know, TPS or Steels, and talk about that. So that's coming up in the videos. I got a ton of videos, you know, that I'm going to talk about all this stuff, and then my workout videos are coming out too. Thanks, guys.